Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is March 19th, 2022, and I want to share a few pieces of information with you, and I want to consider where we are with Purim and the full moon of March 18th. Okay? Now, Genesis 1:14 says, "And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Okay? From the very beginning, Genesis chapter 1, God gave us lights in the heavens, the sun and the moon, to help us understand signs, seasons, days, and years. Okay? Just as it says in Psalm 89, 36, and 37, His line will continue forever, and His throne will be established forever like the moon, the faithful witness in the sky. The moon is the faithful witness in the sky, established forever. The truest and most faithful witness in the heavens is the moon. The moon is the guide to know when does a month begin, when is the 14th day of the month, which would be the full moon, and the cycle of months in the Hebrew calendar and in biblical understanding is the moon. Okay, the moon is, and this is where the word month comes from. Moon, month. Okay, it's the new moon, it's the new month, and this is the understanding that God has given to us in the scriptures. Now, I bring this up to you because the most faithful witness in the heavens is the moon, to know when does a month begin and when would the exact middle day of the month, which on the Hebrew calendar, the full moon is always the full moon. I repeat, the full moon is always the 14th day of the month. It's the night of Passover is a full moon. Okay? This is the biblical understanding. Now, we have been watching Purim from March 16th to March 17th, and we've been watching Shushan Purim from March 17th to March 18th. But as you can see here, now if we look down at the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 17 through 19, and this is the understanding we have of this calendar and of the reason why we're watching for Purim and for Shushan Purim on these days, because it is clearly written the date of Purim in the Holy Scriptures. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Okay? Shushan Purim is the 15th day of the month. And Shushan Purim on the 15th day is the day that they rested. Okay? Now, the full moon of March 2022 was March 18th. Okay? This in and of itself is confirmation of the fact, okay, that March 18th is Purim, the 14th day of the month of Adar. Okay? Now, could this be the situation that based on the full moon, March 18th was Purim, and the 15th day of the month, which would be Shushan Purim, goes from March 18th into March 19th as the true day of Shushan Purim. Okay? And this has gotten me thinking. I've been thinking about this through the course of the day and the situation, and how can we know exactly where we are based on the full moon? Today, March 18th, well, last night, because we're already into March 19th now, but last night, March 18th, was the full moon. Okay? The absolute full moon was March 18th. Okay? And you can look this up. I have it here. I went online and did full moon of March 2022, and this is what comes up. Full moon March 18th. Okay? This can be investigated, and you can see on the calendars how this all plays out. What day is the true day of the full moon? Okay. Now this is the confirmation, I believe, of the exactitude of where we are. Was March 18th actually the 14th day of Adar, meaning that March 19th will be Shushan Purim? Okay. What does Matthew 24:20 say? Pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Okay? Now, what we have here today, Saturday, March 19th, 2022, is we have the last Sabbath of winter. Okay? This is the last Sabbath of winter. And so, how can we understand where we really are? Is not the moon the sign worldwide? The entire world has this same sign that can be seen and can be known throughout the entire world. Okay? The full moon is the 14th day of the month. But we are not waiting for the 14th day of the month. We're waiting for the 15th day of the month, which is the final day of Purim, Shushan Purim, just as it is written in Esther 9:18. On the 15th day of the same, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. It was the 15th day. Okay? Based on the full moon. March 19th is the 15th day. Okay? See, we have to consider all of these biblical signs. Now, we have talked about March 19th connected to the Denver International Airport. So remember this, what we have shared about the Denver International Airport, and how this may be a sign to the world elite that March 19th would be the day that everyone would be heading into their bunkers. March 19th. Based on the inauguration of the Denver International Airport, which is a symbol of the underground bunkers that are built underneath this airport. Also connected to the inauguration of Barack Obama and Barack Obama going to the Denver International Airport, taking these pictures at the murals from the Denver International Airport. Pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day, the last Sabbath of winter before the spring equinox. And it turns out that the new moon, or the full moon of March 18th, shows us that March 18th is the 14th day of the month. And that if we're waiting for the 15th day of the month of Shushan Purim for the 15th day, then that would be between March 18th and March 19th. Okay? And so, what I am sharing with you now is the reason I am encouraging you to stay ready, to stay understanding of where we are, of this time that we are in, and that as we have been expecting and hoping that the rapture of the church could happen over the last few days between March 16th, March 17th, and March 18th, I want to encourage you to continue to remain hopeful through March 19th, through the rest of today. And these are the reasonings why I am sharing this with you. Based on the most faithful witness that we have in the heavens is the full moon of the 14th day of the month. There is never going to be a greater witness of where we are in a month between the actual sighting of the new moon at the beginning of the month, but even more faithful to that is the full moon. Okay? The full moon, which marks the 14th day of the month. So I don't have anything more to share with you about this right now, but I do want to encourage everybody to stay hopeful, expectant. We do not know the day or the hour, but we are commanded to watch. The Bible gives us a number of things that we need to understand and watch for. And the book of Esther shows us that it is the 15th day where Shushan Purim is celebrated, and they rested on the 15th day. Is that not what we are waiting for? That we will come into our rest at the end of days? Just as it says in Esther 9, that they rested on the 15th day of the month. Shushan Purim lots. Daniel 12:13, but go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. They rested on the 15th day. Shushan Purim lots. Stand in thy lot at the end of the days. I pray you are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.